how to knit hair scrunchies with Ruffles. Hi, I'm Kristen and welcome back to my channel, Studio Knit. Hair scrunchies, they are a new, fun, quick knit pattern that I have for you. It's a great yarn busting project and really fun to make. They're great to give as gifts, or you can have a scrunchie sale at craft fairs this holiday season. Oh, and if you are excited to knit up some scrunchies, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe. It really helps me out. For our materials, we are using worsted weighted yarn, any fiber, any color, and you'll want about 42 yards. We also have this braided elastic that is 1/4 inch and some thread. We are using a long circular needle. This is size 8. Mine is 24 inches. You want 24 inches or longer. We also have our tapestry needle, a sewing needle, safety pin, scissors, and some straight pins as well. So let's knit it up. We're using a circular needle because we need all of that length. Mine here is 24 inches in length. You can have that length or longer. And we need all of that length because we are casting on a whopping 200 stitches. And to help you out, I calculated that you should unravel about 122 inches of a yarn tail before you begin to cast on. So you might have some extra long yarn tail left over, but this prevents you from casting on all of those stitches and running out of yarn, right? So I hope that's helpful to you. And we are casting on 200 stitches, and I think I'll go ahead and just jump to the end of that for me here, and this is what our needle looks like. Now, because we are knitting straight, we don't need to worry about straightening out our stitches. We can leave everything kind of all curled around. It's not a big deal. It's not an issue because we are actually knitting straight, not in the round. Now, you want to make sure that your yarn ball is on the right, and because you do not want to join, you don't want to knit in the round, and you have all of those stitches on the left needle and you are knitting them on to your right needle. And I make sure that I do not have my stitches joined so that I don't get confused and I don't accidentally knit in the round, because that is what I'm used to doing when I am knitting with a circular needle. So row 1 is simply knitting the entire row. And again, we're going to fast forward so that you do not have to watch me knit all of these stitches here. And then row 2 is going to be knitting 2 together. So these 200 stitches we have here will go down to 100 stitches very quickly, because instead of knitting that 1 stitch, we're knitting 2 stitches together. 2 stitches together, so 2 becomes 1. So we are decreasing by half just in this one row, row 2. And when you're ready for row 3, all it is knitting. I'm choosing to change my yarn here at row 3. This is the scrunchie that just has that one little edge of the hot pink color. So I am changing my yarn right here, and row 3 is simply knitting all the way down the row. And finishing up row 3, we have one more row. This yarn is so splitty. We have one more row, row 4 of decreases. That is K2 together, knit 2 together, and you're just knitting 2 together all the way down row 4. So now we have 50 stitches, which is much more manageable, and you can see the little ruffles are already forming because they're all those stitches are bunched up because we knit so many of them together. Now from here, row 5 through 20 is simply knitting every single row, just the knit stitch. We are sticking with these 50 stitches, nothing else tricky going on. You can of course change yarn color, whatever you would like to do to design your personal hair scrunchie. And here is how it looks when we're done with those 20 rows. It's so cute. It kind of looks like a little ruffly skirt. Very pretty. And then we are just going to bind off our edge and cut our yarn. Now we want a nice long yarn tail before we cut, because we are going to use that to sew the elastic inside on the edge right there. So I'll just take my tapestry needle, get that last little stitch, and now we are ready to add the elastic. So here is how the right side looks. Because I changed colors, it's pretty obvious this is the right side because the edge looks so nice and clean. And then here is the wrong side. So I'm going to lay my piece down so that I see the wrong side facing me. And I'm going to cut 9 inches of the elastic and then place it on the edge and hold it securely with my safety pin, so while I'm sewing it doesn't move around too much. And to help with that, I'm also going to use those pins and pin them down from the right side right there, and pin it all the way down to sort of help keep everything stay in place. So let's just say sewing is not my jam. So if anybody here is an expert sewer and has any other little tips, please leave those in the comments to help people out. I am just folding my knitted work over, and I'm using my tapestry needle and my yarn, and I'm just seaming the elastic into my piece, just pretty simply right here, just going back and forth. So I'm just gonna grab my elastic there, pull it to the end, and continue knitting up my scrunchie. And once I make sure that both of those elastic ends are available for me to grab, I can take out the safety pin, and then I can just sew the edges together. And I'm just sewing until I feel that it is nice and secure. And then continue with the tapestry needle and your yarn to just seam up the edges of your scrunchie, weave in your ends, cut off those yarn tails, and you are done. Very, very super cute. I hope you are inspired to knit up some hair scrunchies. If you do, please tag me in social, post pictures, Studio Knit, hashtag Studio Knit, and I will see you next time. Bye.